This is KVUE News Daybreak.
We just sort of heard a very, very loud bang and just sort of saw everyone running and screaming.
This morning, we are learning more about the massive explosion in Manchester, who police believe is responsible.
And President Trump is still on his 9-day trip overseas while he asked the media to stick around, and the message he wanted to make very clear.
A live look outside on this Tuesday morning at the UT Tower, bright orange as we face another day of clouds, perhaps some more rain headed our way. We'll check in with Erica in just a moment. Good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us for Daybreak at 5 a.m. I'm Brian May.
And I'm Yvonne Nava. It is Tuesday, May 23rd. Let's get a look at what we're tracking with Storm Team meteorologist Erica Lopez.
All right, guys. Yeah, the rain shower chances continue today. The good news, this is the last day. We'll have a good several-day streak of some drier conditions. Temperatures right now in the 60s. We're just below average. A little bit of isolated cells north of us. That's where the heaviest rain shower activity is going on this morning between Dallas and Austin. And also some storms firing up across the Panhandle. None on the severe side. Southern Texas is our main concern for any severe weather threat this afternoon. As for here, our rush hour forecast does keep in a 40% chance of possibly a shower for your morning commute. I think the best chance will be this afternoon, where we could have some storms fire up ahead of a cold front that's going to push through this afternoon. So here's how today's going to play out. 40% chance on the light side, and then increasing that shortly anytime after about lunchtime. And with some of these cells could be stronger at times, isolated, maybe producing some gusty winds and maybe some small size hail. So that's why we're under just a marginal risk. It's our less threat when we're talking about severe weather today. The biggest concern will be south of us. Notice southern Texas under a slight risk for severe weather. I'll talk sunshine and also a hint at your Memorial Weekend forecast coming up later this morning. Guys, back to you. Actually, sorry, turning things over to traffic. We need to take a look at the roads. Anna Reyes, how are things shaping up this morning?
Yes, don't forget about me. Well, no major incidents to report this morning, but I do want to update you guys. There is a reopening on the 183 southbound lanes after a vehicle was found underwater, and an overnight rescue took place after that. 2 people were sent to the hospital, but minor injuries were reported, and after speaking with APD, those southbound lanes on 183 by Loyola are now reopened, so that's good news to report this morning. This is a live look at 183 at Lamar Boulevard. The lanes are opened and clear, so drive time's looking pretty good this morning. Guys, back to you.
Oh my God. What's going on? What just happened?
A massive explosion outside a concert hall in England, taking headlines by storm all around the world. An explosion after an Ariana Grande concert in Manchester leaves more than 20 people dead and nearly 60 people injured. ABC's Elizabeth Herr explains what officials overseas are saying about the deadly attack.
Chaos and confusion sent concertgoers screaming and scrambling for the exit.
Everyone just started running, people were screaming and crying.
The Ariana Grande concert had just ended, the pop star off stage when a loud explosion rocked the arena.
Oh my God. What's going on? What just happened?
In this dash cam video, if you look to the left, you can see the flash, then hear the blast, causing pandemonium inside and outside the venue.
There's a lot of children were there without parents. There was no one to calm them down, so everybody was just screaming and crying and pushing.
When I got up and looked round, there was about 30 people scattered everywhere. Some of them looked dead.
The Manchester Arena is one of Britain's main concert and sport venues with more than 20,000 seats. Witnesses say on this night, the arena was packed with children and teenagers. Overnight, family and friends with missing loved ones flooded social media with notes and pictures pleading for help. This morning, British Prime Minister Theresa May is calling this an appalling terrorist attack, and police say they believe this was the work of a suicide bomber.
We believe the attacker was carrying an improvised explosive device which he detonated, causing this atrocity.
Well, police say right now they are still trying to determine if the attacker acted alone. As for singer Ariana Grande, she was not hurt but devastated and tweeted she is so sorry. Elizabeth Herr, ABC News, Washington.
President Donald Trump arrived in Bethlehem overnight to meet with the Palestinian president. In a news conference, the president of the United States addressed the terror attack.
So many young, beautiful, innocent people living and enjoying their lives murdered by evil losers in life. I won't call them monsters because they would like that term. They would think that's a great name. I will call them from now on losers because that's what they are. They're losers. And we'll have more of them.
President Donald Trump adding that the United States stands in absolute solidarity with the people of the United Kingdom.
There's an outpouring of support for those affected by the explosion in Manchester. Hashtag Room for Manchester became a popular hashtag on Twitter last night. People were using it to offer rooms for people stranded following the explosion. Other social media platforms took an important role following the attack as well. Facebook launched its safety check feature for users to let their family and friends know that they are okay.
Happening today, the Texas House of Representatives could vote on a bill that would loosen rules of the state's voter ID law, but create harsh penalties for people who violate the law. KVUE's Christy Millward in the newsroom this morning, and this is the last day for the House to approve Senate bills. Christy.
Well, Brian, the item is on the House's emergency calendar for today after Governor Abbott put it there with less than a week of the session left. Senate Bill 5 would add options for Texas voters who cannot reasonably get one of the 7 forms of ID currently required to vote, such as a driver's license, handgun license, or passport. Back in April, a federal judge says there was evidence that discrimination was at least one of the substantial or motivating factors for passing the law back in 2011. Saying it can be more difficult for minorities to get the acceptable forms of identification. And just before the November elections, the judge ordered Texas to allow voters who are unable to get one of those forms of ID to show an alternate ID like a utility bill or bank statement and sign an affidavit saying why they can't get the other form of identification. The Texas Civil Rights Project, based in Austin, tells us they had to run PSAs to help voters understand the confusing process.
As you get ready to vote, remember that you must show a photo ID like a Texas driver's license at the polls. If you don't have an accepted photo ID and can't reasonably get one, don't worry.
Under SB 5, someone could face perjury charges for a false statement or false information. It would also make it a third-degree felony, and violators could face up to 10 years behind bars. Now, the next hearing for the federal case against the existing voter ID law is scheduled for June 7th of this year. Christy Millward, KVUE News.
Christy, thanks. Great to have you back with us this morning. 5:07 now is the time. President Donald Trump continuing his first foreign trip as president today, using his 9-day trip to address controversial issues he's facing back here in the States. After meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu yesterday, President Trump asked reporters to stick around. He then opened up about accusations that he shared classified intelligence information provided by Israeli officials during his meeting with top Russian government officials in the Oval Office.
Just so you understand, I never mentioned the word or the name Israel. Never mentioned it during that conversation. They were all saying I did. So you had to know the story wrong. Never mentioned the word Israel.
Prime Minister Netanyahu said, quote, intelligence cooperation is terrific and it's never been better, end quote, even though there have been no reports that President Trump told the Russians Israel was the source of the information.
More jobs are coming to the San Marcos area thanks to an expansion at the regional airport. Barry Aviation has signed a 40-year lease with the city to build a 31,000-square-foot facility to expand its growing airline fleet and staff. A state-of-the-art hangar will be built to properly store planes. As you can see, the one seen on your screen is one that they have now, but it's too small to fit all the planes. The expansion will also allow the aviation company to work on larger aircrafts.
Residents along the Texas-Mexico border cleaning up this morning after a powerful storm caused widespread blackouts and damage on Sunday night. One man says the storm blew the roof off of his house.
The wind was really, really bad. About 5 minutes after just getting out, I saw my roof flying. We've been through things like not this bad, but we'll get through.
The storm also claimed the life of a teenage boy who was electrocuted by a live wire that touched the ground during that storm. Back here in Central Texas, talking about more clouds today and another chance for some rain. Erica Lopez joins us now with the details. Erica?
That's right. An approaching cold front that's going to pass through us this evening could spark up some stronger storms. As for this morning, the bulk of the activity is just to the north of us between Dallas and Austin here on radar. And also the Panhandle has been busy all morning long. As for us, we're on the quiet side. We did have some passing storms across the hill country around 1 to 3 a.m. Those have since dwindled down, and now just some clouds out there and cooler temperatures, but keeping in the rain shower chances. 40% for the first half of the day will increase this afternoon to 50% chance of a passing storm. Here's how it's going to play out. So hour by hour on the lighter side for the start of our day, but notice the storms get stronger as we progress into the afternoon. You see the isolated red circles. Those are isolated cells that could produce possibly some small hail and possibly some strong storms. And again, a cold front will push through this evening. That's going to push out clouds. That's going to push out rain shower chances and bring us some sunshine that I'm tracking for quite a while. Your highs today will be under average. A warming trend will arrive into our region by tomorrow. I'll let you know what kind of temperatures we're talking about, and also tracking a chance for possibly some Memorial Weekend rain. I'll chat about that coming up. Guys, back to you.
All right, thanks so much. 5:10 is your time. America's oldest living World War II veteran Richard Overton could be released from the hospital today after battling pneumonia over the weekend. And that's according to our partners at the Statesman. The 111-year-old Austinite was admitted to St. David's Medical Center on Friday for a fever. Doctors then diagnosed him with pneumonia. Relatives say he is doing much better now. Mosquito season is here, and most of us can't seem to avoid them.
But is it true that mosquitoes are more drawn to certain types of people? We verify if that's true or not.
To me, it seems like they picked it just for me.
Like they took the time.
Like they took the time.
Seems to be the new fashion trend, skipping the mall and getting clothes from a box. But is it actually a good idea? We're going to break it down in our series, Is It Worth It?